My name is Leanna. To most people in the office, I'm simply the quiet girl from HR. I dress simply, speak softly, and carry myself with a quiet calmness that makes me blend into the background. And I don't mind that observation is easier from the sidelines. But to one man in particular, my coworker Vince, my quiet nature made me an easy target. Vince was the type who needed to be the loudest person in the room. He came from money, always flaunting designer watches, polished shoes, and whatever latest gadget he bought to prove his status. He had this way of talking that made everyone feel like he was doing them a favor simply by acknowledging their existence. He especially loved picking on people he thought were beneath him, and in his eyes, I was the easiest one to dismiss. "Liana, did you get paid this month?" he once said loudly across the office. "You always dress like you're waiting for your first paycheck." A few coworkers snickered. Another time, when a manager asked me to help review some documents, Vince muttered just loud enough for others to hear, "I swear, HR hires anyone these days." I didn't react. Not because his words didn't stink, but I had learned something powerful. People reveal their true character when they think no one important is watching. And Vince had no idea who was watching. Because the truth was simple. I wasn't just an HR assistant. I wasn't even just a regular employee. I was the majority owner of the entire company. But almost no one knew. My family built the company from the ground up. After my parents passed away, the shares transferred to me, but I refused to take on a visible leadership role. I didn't want special treatment. I wanted to understand how people behaved when they thought I had nothing to offer them. I wanted to see who led with kindness and who led with arrogance. Vince, unsurprisingly, failed every test. He mocked interns, talked down to the older employees, rolled his eyes whenever someone didn't move fast enough to please him. He treated kindness as weakness and humility as inferiority. And for a long time, I let him believe whatever he wanted. 3 months before our annual company summit, our CEO, Mr. Reyes, called me into his office. He was one of the very few people who knew the truth. "Ma'am Liana," he said respectfully, "the board believes it's time. You need to be present at the summit, not as HR, but as the company's owner." I froze for a moment. "No one knows who I am," I reminded him softly. "I don't want the employees to feel uncomfortable." "They won't," he said. "They'll understand. And it's time they see the person who built all of this." I looked at him for a long moment. Maybe he was right. Maybe it really was time. So I agreed. The weeks leading to the summit were eventful. The busier the office became, the more Vince strutted around like he owned the place. "Did you see the memo?" he said loudly to a coworker. "They assigned me to VIP registration at the summit." Obviously. I mean, who else looks this good? His girlfriend, who also worked with us, giggled. "You'll probably meet the next CEO, babe." Vince flashed his usual smirk. "Oh, please. Reyes? He's decent, but I think someone else deserves that spot." He pointed at himself. I almost smiled. The universe had such an interesting sense of humor. A few days later, while we were finalizing documents, Vince passed my desk and made another comment. "You're on backstage duty? Yeah, that fits you. You're not exactly presentable for the front." I simply smiled. People like him depended on reactions. They fed off the power of making others feel small. Silence to them was confusing, uncomfortable, threatening. Later that afternoon, someone else overheard him, someone he did not expect. Our CEO. "Vince," Mr. Reyes said calmly, "may I speak with you?" Vince straightened immediately. "Of course, sir." The CEO looked at him with a steady gaze. "Treat every employee with respect," he said quietly. "Every single one." For a moment, I thought Vince would finally reflect. He didn't. He simply nodded, pretending he understood. The summit day arrived. The ballroom was enormous. Crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling drapes, spotlights, shining like warm suns across the room. Employees from all departments gathered, excited for the company's big announcements. I came early wearing a simple navy dress, nothing extravagant, just enough to look professional. When I approached the VIP entrance, Vince stepped in front of me, blocking the path. With his clipboard, "Liana, what are you doing here? VIPs only." "I have a pass," I replied gently. He snorted. "Even if you have one, you don't belong here. Go around to the regular entrance." I opened my mouth to explain, but someone else spoke first. "Is there a problem?" "Mr. Reyes?" Vince stiffened. "No, sir. I'm just redirecting her to the correct area." Mr. Reyes glanced at me, then at Vince. "Let her in," he said firmly. "But, sir—" "Open the rope." Vince reluctantly unhooked the velvet rope, muttering under his breath, "You owe him for this." The program began. Speeches, project recaps, financial updates. Vince strutted around the front, smiling for every camera as if he were running for office. Then, near the end, the lights dimmed. Mr. Reyes stepped onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "before we conclude, I want to honor someone important, someone who has worked beside us quietly, humbly, and without recognition." People looked around, confused. "This person chose to work as a regular staff member," he continued, "not because she lacked position, but because she wanted to understand us, truly understand us." The room fell silent, and today, it is time for the truth. He paused. "Please welcome to the stage our majority owner, Miss Liana Torres." Gasps, whispers, silence, and then every eye turned toward me. Vince looked like the ground had been pulled out from under him. His face went white. His jaw dropped open so far I thought it might dislocate. I walked to the stage slowly, calm, steady, peaceful. When I reached the microphone, I smiled softly. "Good afternoon," I began. "Yes, it's true. I've worked in HR for years, but I am also the owner of this company." A ripple spread across the room. I chose to remain anonymous because I wanted to see who we are, who leads with humility, who treats others with kindness, and who forgets that respect should never depend on status. I didn't need to say names. I didn't have to point fingers. Some truths do not need volume to be heard. "Thank you for welcoming me," I ended. "Let's continue to build a company founded on respect." The room erupted into applause, but one person didn't clap. He couldn't. After the event, coworkers approached me with handshakes and nervous smiles. Some apologized, some expressed shock, some promised to treat everyone better. Then finally, Vince approached. He walked slowly, shoulders tense, eyes glued to the floor. When he reached me, he spoke barely above a whisper. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, I know," I said quietly. "I didn't mean—" He stopped. He knew he meant every word he ever said. Silence hung heavily between us. Then I spoke gently, calmly. "Respect should never depend on status, Vince. Treating people well isn't a favor. It's a responsibility." His throat tightened. "Yes, ma'am," he whispered. I nodded politely. "Grow from this." And then I walked away, not in triumph, not in revenge, but in peace, because the truth had already done everything for me. Later that night, as I watched the city lights glitter through my hotel window, I finally understood something. Power isn't loud, it's not arrogant, it doesn't bully or belittle. Real power is calm, quiet, steady. When people think you're nothing, they reveal exactly who they are. And when the truth arrives, it doesn't need to shout. It speaks for you. In the end, I didn't rise above Vince. He fell beneath the weight of the person he chose to be. And life reminded me once again. People judge you by what they see, but life judges them by what they do. Sometimes, all you need to do is wait.